Hello everyone. So this project is face detection using YOLO version 3 in Keras. So as we know, YOLO version 3 it's a object detection algorithm, and conventionally the YOLO has 80 different classes that it detects, but today we are going to do it for just a single class, that is the face, one of the classes. So the you can see more details in the paper, the YOLO v3 official paper, and it is written in darknet architecture, which is mainly written in C. So it's not compatible in Keras, so we'll be today converting it to Keras. We're not going to do exactly from scratch, so let's see how are we going to do it. So first of all, we have to write the darknet architecture, the whole YOLO v3 darknet architecture in Keras. Okay, so first let's see this darknet architecture. So you can see it's basically a conf max pool, like that only it goes. Many convolutions are there, and this architecture we have to write in Keras. Okay, so I have written it using like this, using many con blocks, and as you can see, the whole architecture, the darknet architecture has been written in Keras with the specified filters, etc. But as I said, YOLO v3 is a 80 class classification, right? And I only want for one class. So we'll see how how we have to, what changes we have to make. So further when we'll see the YOLO architecture, I'll come back to it. So first, as you can see, the we have defined the con block, so it's continuously repeating. So there are many skip connections, just like the Google Net. It has 1x1 convolutions, skip connections, and very big network. Okay, and the outputs are taken at three places. The first place is the YOLO 82 layer 82, then it's taken at 94, and then at 106. So over here we have to make the changes in the filters according to the number of class, which will come back later. So now we're not going to train this model completely, because yeah, I've not written the training process. Instead, what we're going to do is I've found a place which they have trained the YOLO network on a lot of face images from this wider face dataset. So they have trained it on many face images on the YOLO v3 network, and we can access the weights file. The I've given the link in the GitHub repository as well for that. So you can download the weights file, and that weights file, same weights file, we're going to load into these layers. Okay, so that's why the layer should be right, because so for that I've used a weight reader class, which is taken from this repository. uh, yeah, here. So this weight reader class I've used to read the darknet weights into my YOLO model, the Keras model. Okay, and finally the model concatenates, as I told, the output is taken at three places, and all the threes are in concatenated and then given as an output. We'll see how an output is taken, etc. later. So we're just reading the weights, then loading it into the model, and finally save the model.h file. So the Keras model has been saved. This will be used for face detection, right? Because for single class we have been doing this. So let's first take a look at the YOLO model itself. So you can see, as I told, three places the output have been taken, and three places, three different size. So the image has been, like, convolutions are done, and over here the and you to see that input is 416 cross 416. So so all that specifications you can get from the paper only, that what input you have to give, etc. So this here, over here, when the first output is taken, the image is divided into 13 cross 13 grid. Okay, 13 cross 13 grid, and for every grid cell, three anchor boxes are predicted, and the size of those anchor boxes are also defined in the paper only. Then the second time when output is taken, it is divided into 26 cross 26 grid. As you can see, there are more grids over here, and over here the it is divided into what do you say, 26 cross 26 grid, and over here also three anchor boxes are there. And then finally at 106 it's divided into 52 cross 52 grid, and every cell has 3 anchor boxes, so total 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 anchor boxes are predicted, okay, for every cell. So here 13 into 3 into 13 into 13 into 3, 26 into 26 into 3, 50 into 50 into 3, and then overall when you add, that will become some 10,000 plus anchor boxes, okay. So that's why we call it YOLO V3. On 3 the anchor boxes are predicted at 3 levels for every grid cell, okay. So in YOLO V2 on 2 anchor boxes are predicted, and YOLO V1 like that. So we'll see now how and the prediction and all is done, okay. So first of all, you need to know what the anchor boxes are and how are they seen when the output is taken. So every anchor box, you can see 13 cross 13 cross 3, as I told, it's divided into 13 cross 13 grid. Every cell has 3 anchor boxes, and every anchor box will have 5 parameters are constant, okay. Though they are the center coordinates xy, the width and height w and h, and fifth is the score, like how much is an what confidence the model predicts that it is an object, like here the object is dog, so what confidence predicts as a dog, so that is the fifth one. And the last, it is the class, so there are 80 classes, so it will be 80 different the vector will be of 80 size, and whichever class will be there, that will be 1. But I have only one class, so it will be 5 plus 1 into 3, so that will be 13 cross 13 into 5 plus 1 6 cross 3 18. So my number of filters will be 18. When you calculate this, it will be 255. So as I told you, the change we have to make at every YOLO layer, here it's conventionally 255. I've made it to 18 because I am predicting only one class, okay. So I'll have x y w h objectness core and the class only one. I don't have a class vector of 80 size because I don't have 80 classes, not a multi-class classification, okay. So let's see further. Wait a minute. So 3 boxes so this is just for the 13 cross 13, okay. So like this for 26 cross 26 also it will be there, 26 cross 3 cross 6, then 52 cross 52 cross 3 cross 6. So finally all these 3 will be concatenated, so for every cell there will be there will be 3 anchor boxes, and then 26 cross 26 also, 52 cross 52 also, and all 3 will be concatenated as the YOLO output. So let's see it in the code which I have written. So we'll see class by class. So as I told you, the model we are going to be using, that we just compiled, and the input size, all this is defined from the paper only. Now we'll see from the top. So let's see what are the classes that I have defined. So the bounding box, so it's a little unconventionally I have defined the bounding box. So basically normally the bounding box will be xy, the center coordinate, w h, height and width, and then the objectness core and the class. So here what I have done, I have defined a custom bounding box which I'll modify the output as like this and feed it to this class. So let's just see what it is, the definitions. So it's a x min, then y min, then x max and y max. So this will give me the diagonally opposite coordinates, and then objectness and class. So actually in both, now you please make sure that in this code the both are signifying the same thing, like 99.99.99 both will have. For the labels I have made a separate self dot labels which will go from the class, it will take the, so here it doesn't matter because argmax is not needed because there will be all, it will be as one single vector, like it will be 0, or because I have only one class, right? So the class will the label will always be 0, that is a face, and if it was 2 then it will be the maximum argument wherever the score is there. So the objectness score and classes is same in this code, you have to make sure. So and for labels I have made a separate function, and the score also you can return, made some helper functions for that, okay. And this sigmoid activation which has to be used on the YOLO output, and this is the decoding. So we'll come back to this later, everything. Let's see the main code, like from where it starts running. So this is predefined, as I told you, 3 anchor boxes. The 13 cross 13, these are the 3 anchor boxes. 26 cross 26, these are the 3 anchor boxes size. So these are the size, like the 30 cross 61, 62 cross 45, and for 52 cross 52. So as you can see, the 13 cross 13, the bigger objects are detected, in the 26 cross 26 medium objects, and in the 52 cross 52 the smaller objects are detected. This class threshold, we'll see what it is, and the labels I have only face as the label. Okay, now this is the input file name, and then we resize the input, and see, we resized and flattened it, we added new axis because we have to give it to the model, and now give it to the model for prediction, this model that we just loaded the weights into. Now after prediction, let's see what, as I told you, it will predict at 3 places: 13 cross 13, 26 cross 26, and 52 cross 52, and it will be 18 and not 255 in our case, because it's just 3 into 5 plus 1, right? And see, the 3 outputs are there. So all these three, having the anchor boxes. Okay, so now we'll decode the output. So we'll take the output, this output y hat, and so y hat I of 0, so length of y hat what will be 3, so 0 1 2 3, and anchors also it will run 0 1 2. So when it will be I hat 0 of 0, this thing will go, and the anchor boxes, these will go similarly for 26 and 26, 52, 52, and all of them will be all of the boxes will be taking in this variable boxes. Okay, all the bounding boxes, so not the bounding boxes, the anchor boxes will be storing in these boxes. So let's see how the output is decoded in the decode net out. So first of all, we're taking the first two elements, that will be 13 13 or 26 26, whatever. So the grid size, okay, as I told you, the grid size 13 cross 13, and then the number of boxes always 3, whether it's 13 cross 13 or 26 cross 26. Now we'll reshape it as 13 13 and 3 comma minus 1. So what will it happen? It is 13 13 cross 18. So when you reshape it as 13 cross 3 and flatten it, so it will be 13, this will be 13 cross 6. Okay, because we have to retain the shape. It's 13 cross 18, and when you flatten it like that, it will be 13 cross 3 cross 6. Okay, so now the NP class will take the last, because the 6, what 6 represents the bounding box parameters. As I told you, 6 things it will predict: the center coordinates, the width, height, the objectness, and the class label. So the 6 minus 5, so 1. So anyway, our class is always 1, because we didn't have to do this, but it's a general code for multi-class. So if you find weights where it is trained on 80 classes, and accordingly make the model and specify all the labels, then also this code will work, but you have to find the weights, okay, for that. So now we as I told, my bounding box is a little different, so accordingly I'll do the changes so that I'll get the two diagonal coordinates and the objectness as my bounding box. So then I'll be plotting and doing other stuff to it. So firstly we have to pass the output through the activation function, whatever you get. So basically the starting outputs are passed, and everything is done, and here the process is happening. So x and y are center, right, and w and h are height and width. So finally, after doing everything, using the anchors and everything, we are anchor boxes are also passed, like the sigmoid is applied, and after that the center coordinates are converted to the diagonal ends, the x max, x min, y min, the x max, y max. Objectness and classes both are containing the same thing, only like if like the face is 99% of face, so both will contain same. For labels we have a explicit function, get label. We'll see how we are using it and when, and all of the boxes are then appended in the boxes, okay, and the boxes is written. So now my boxes, there are 10,000 some anchor boxes, all of them are stored in the boxes. Now what we have to do, as I told you, that it was going to predict boxes, so there many boxes will be which will be predicted, right, and we need only the best one, the one best box that fits the image. So for that we do something called non-max separation. But before that, what you say, I had just resized my image, right? See, I resized my image to 416 416, but my image is not actually 416 416. So to bring my predicted boxes into that scale, right, now it is in the scale. For the 416 416 I have the boxes, but for my actual image size I have to bring the boxes to that scale. So this is my image size, this is my 416 416. I'll use this function correct YOLO boxes, okay, to bring my boxes back to the scale of my original image size. So it is just scaling it minus plus and divided by the scale. So it's basic logic, and scaling the boxes to the size of the image. Okay, and after that I told you that we need one final anchor box. So for that we do a non-max separation with the threshold of 0.05. I'll see how it is done. NMS is non-maximal separation. So let's see how NMS is done. So what we do in NMS, so if length of boxes, like if boxes are found, now first we arrange the boxes according to their class scores. Okay, so first we'll check for the maximum, like if one box will be predicting the object with 99% confidence, one will be predicting with 50% confidence, like that. And now we'll sort it according to the class scores. For now we'll take first box. Okay, I range of the indexes, we'll take the first box. Okay, and the score will check if it is 0. If the score is 0, then you don't even need to check it, just skip this iteration. Now if as when we get a non-zero score, so what we do, the next box I plus 1 after that box, and till all the other end, till the end length of, like from there, like if I is 2, then 3 to end all the boxes. For all the boxes, what we'll do is one by one, with the box that didn't have a score of 0, one by one we'll perform the IOU, intersection over union. What it does, so one box is this size and another is of another size, the j I plus 1th box. We'll see the intersection of both the boxes, we'll see the union of both the boxes, calculate that, and then divide it. That just gives the IOU. So whichever having the highest IOU is the best box. Okay, so there's a threshold of 0.5, or IOU is in between 0 to 1, so the threshold is 0.5. So if the IOU of the ith box is with the next box is greater than 0.5, then that the box will make it redundant, because that box is not good, because IOU of I is coming greater than 0.5. So that box goes redundant. Like this we do it for all the 10,000 boxes, 10,000 plus boxes, and finally we get back our boxes. So whichever box we don't want, we make the score 0. Classes, as I told, it will also contain score and not the class, so that will make 0. So the model will know that afterwards we'll use it. So whichever box will remain with the class score is our box. Okay, so after doing the NMS, we have finally have our box. Usually it will come down to one single box which will have the class score, and rest will go to 0. So that get boxes function is used. So as I told you, this class threshold will be used now. So let's say the score came down, score 1, we got a score 1 box, but the score is less than 0.6, like 60%, less than 60%, then we'll reject that box also, because we don't want a low confidence prediction. Okay, where is it? Wait a minute. Get boxes, yeah. So if it is greater than the threshold, then only we'll take the labels, and see, I told you it has the score into 100 will give the percentage, and the labels of I we are getting from that get labels function that I showed you in the starting. So in this way, passing the labels which is coming from here. Labels is the face, and yeah, so labels of I using the whichever so classes of I, it will always be like our labels of 0 only, the length will become as 1. So like that, I in range 1, that will be 0, so it will always be face. So this doesn't matter, but it is a general code. So and the labels, boxes and score will be returned, and that will be stored over here. Now draw boxes function is going to draw the boxes on your image. Okay, so the draw boxes function, it's a very simple function. We'll take the box. So as I told you, my box will now have xmin, ymin, xmax, ymax, because OpenCV requires this. So I have made the bounding box with such customization. So the two endpoints, the color and everything is chosen, and with the thickness we plot the rectangle. We put the text showing the score as well, and then we're giving it the output, saving the output, writing like saving the output in this location, showing it, and then close the windows. Now after doing this, one extra thing is done, is blurring rest of the image except the detected faces. So for that, a Gaussian blur is used. that too CV2 is done. So what I do, first I take the image, read the rows and columns. Now I'll blur the whole image using Gaussian blur. Now I'll make a mask of the defined row, the rows and columns equivalent to the image. And now for the mask, if the boxes exist, if the face is detected, so we'll take the coordinates of the faces and make and for the mask we will minus, when you give -1 rectangle, it will fill the patch with this color which is white. So those patches where the faces are detected in the mask, I'll make them white. Initially it was all zero, so it is black in color. So those patches I make them white. Now I use np.where. What does this do is, wherever the mask will be white, okay, it will retain the image, and wherever it is not, it will retain the blurred image. So all the faces will be shown and other part will be blurred. Same, we are saving it, showing it, closing the windows. So this is actually Jupyter Notebook, but we can always for a proper project I have made these into Python files. I'll be running them and showing it to you. Okay, so we'll go back where our Python files are there. So here you can see this phase detection, and then building the model. Okay, so this is used to build the model, the same, and this was for the face detection. Okay, just what we saw. And this is the weights file which I downloaded from the link. So in my GitHub there are steps how to do it. First of all, you create the environment with the requirements, everything. You open it, you activate your conda, mini conda. So I'll activate, wait a minute, I'll open the command prompt, activate. So actually don't need a GPU, but because we're not compiling or doing anything, so now normal TensorFlow will do. So now first of all we have to run this to make the model.h5 file as we saw initially, right? Using the weights file, everything, it will load the weights and make the models. So I'll just go and paste it and run it. So it is going to run. It will take a minute or so, maybe. Basically you just place the file where in this directory only where it is. It will take it and feed it to the model. Yeah, so all the weights are loaded and now the model is saved. So this model.h5 file is there. Okay, so now after this we'll be doing the face detection. So for that the command is this python face detection.py. You specify the image path and the output directory path. So my images are stored, all the, if you want to test any, you just put it in the sample and specify over there. Okay, so I'll be using this test image. I'll be testing 3 faces should be detected, right? The dog is not a human face, and will be stored in the outputs. So yeah, so you can see. Now we'll see. First it will perform the YOLO face detection, and after that it will blur them, blur the rest of the background except the detected faces. Okay, so see, this is what I was calling the class core or the object name core. The number of faces is 3. These are the faces. Now the image blur algorithm will play and rest of, so it's like working like a filter. So you can do it for any image, just put in the path, like here instead of test you can put anything, there's another image called face, so I'll try with that. So yeah, if the output directory is not there, it will create one on its own, or else it will skip that step. So yeah, and all these are saved in the outputs. Okay, I'll put the link to the GitHub repository and everything in the description, and you can see, read the paper for more better understanding, but most of the things are given over here. Yeah, so you can test against your custom inputs just by putting it in the samples folder and specifying, just clone the repository and do it. Okay, thank you.